10, thinking!
I'm Sean Bradiseth, and I've been thinking about manifesting. I'm not that kind of manifesting, and I'm not thinking about doing it. As I've grown up, we've known manifesting to mean one thing, which is demons manifest, things like that. But actually in recent years, and even currently, this word manifesting has come to mean something in the church. And I've been thinking about that. About 18 years ago, in 2006, a lady named Rhonda Byrne wrote a book. She's not a Christian lady at all. She wrote a book called The Secret and became massively famous. She sold 30 million copies of it. She became a phenomenon and a world-famous author. You might have seen the cover. It's sort of a brownish cover with what looks like a red seal in wax and The Secret written in kind of medieval-looking writing. It looks very mysterious and, well, what is the secret? And essentially what she laid out was what she referred to as the law of attraction, which is the more you think about something, visualize it, say you're going to do it, in essence spend every waking thought on it, you will attract that success to yourself. You will attract that dream to yourself. I have no problem believing that when somebody is obsessed with something, they're going to head in that direction. That makes quite a lot of sense. But she believed there was certainly a power at work, and people began to say, well, I've tried this and it works. I have spent time setting my thoughts on things, speaking about them, thinking about them, making them happen, and these things have happened to me, and I've become very successful. The problem is, often after, that's 18 years ago now, but after a certain amount of time, sometimes what the church does, what God's people do, is we kind of take something and repackage it, rebrand it, and start to act as though, yeah, well, there's actually something to this. What about this? And so we have manifesting today. And even in church circles, I don't presume all churches are thinking like this, but certainly many are thinking about this, the subject of manifesting something, visualizing it, speaking it, setting your mind on it. Well, I just want to outline a few problems. I think most people listening to this would be able to pick up many problems, but let's just, for the sake of our own thinking and clarity, think of a few problems with this. Firstly, I would say, well, Rhonda Byrne, in the book she wrote, The Secret, from which much of this takes its shape, she wasn't a Christian. And when you manifest something in the way she was thinking of it, you are God. You don't need God. You become God. You begin to shape your own destiny. You begin to, in the words of that great poem, I think he said, I'm the captain of my soul. I'm the master of my fate. And you become that. You become to determine your own fate. Well, that's a problem. That's not true. We know there's a God in heaven who ordains the times and places that people should live in, and his will is what needs to be carried out on this earth. So in that sense, you're brushing up against something where you become God. I would say this as well. Our hearts are deceptive. How do we even know if what we want is what God wants for us? Our hearts are almost continually deceptive. How often have you found someone who falls in love with someone that they shouldn't fall in love with? But to them, they have absolutely no doubt that God has ordained this and God has blessed this. Why do they think that? Well, their hearts are deceptive. Our hearts are incredibly manipulative, and they lie to us. How would you know if what you want to manifest and what you want to see in your life happen is actually God's will for you? Well, you couldn't trust your own heart. And these things are about making sure that what is in your heart takes place. We must be careful of that. Then I would say this. The idea of manifesting, and if you take it back to its ungodly parallel, but even if you look at what people believe they're doing in the name of God, often manifesting is actually about your success. It's about the person who wants something to happen. It's all wrapped up in their life. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to see come about in my life. This is the success that I want to see come to me. It might even masquerade as something godly. These are the things I want God to do through me. Well, it's all about me. It's all about my life. We're not called to live that kind of life. We're called to live a life that says, I want to make much of you. I want to help you. I want to build you up. I want to help you into your destiny. I want to make sure that you do something great for God. I want to consider you better than myself. Well, that's not part of manifesting. Most times it's actually just for yourself. And then lastly, and this is quite important, in these type of things, it might seem like there's this huge power at work. People visualizing things and going and doing them. It might seem like it's this mysterious power. Well, yes, there can be a power behind it. Most times I would say this, you only hear the success stories. You only hear the stories of people who say it worked. They are in the tiny minority. Most people who it does not work for will not say anything. They'll get on with their lives and feel quite embarrassed about it. Or, I would say, you don't really want to hear from people who have not had something great happen to them. A famous story in a worldly sense is the actor Cary, who was very famous in the 90s. He, according to him, and this has become a very famous story, when he was young and starting out, not yet an actor, not yet famous, he wrote himself a check. Kids, don't worry about what that is. It's a way you would write, you'd kind of pay bills or generate money. He wrote himself a check for $10 million. He said, I'm writing myself this check for $10 million. I will make it happen. Well, he did star in movies getting more than that. He was not long earning tens of millions of dollars. And he used that as an example of, well, look, this works. I visualized it. In a sense, I manifested it. Well, I want to say, well, we're all interested in his story because of who he is. Are we interested in the story of the person who tried to do that, but it didn't work? No, we wouldn't ever have a way of hearing from them because they failed. I want you to know there are way more people who have failed in this thing than who have succeeded in it. It is a worldly way of thinking. And unfortunately, the church begins to wrap itself up in the ways of the world. Can you think of the church in Jerusalem, the church of Acts, speaking like this? Can you think of the church of Acts saying, brothers, let's gather today. I just want to talk about manifesting. Are you visualizing the things you want to see God do through you? Are you visualizing it? Are you making it happen? Are you talking about it? No, I can't picture them saying that. They would be saying things like, let us get on with the things God has called us to get on with. Preach the gospel. Love one another. Lay down your lives for one another. Help the poor. Disciple one another. Those are the things we know we're called to. I'm not called to start manifesting things in my life. I'm called to follow Jesus. Love the people in front of me. Give myself to his church. And let the Lord bring across my path what he will bring. I pray God gives us wisdom in these silly times. That we'll reject stupidity and we will set our sights on something real. Set our sights on Jesus.
The end!